Welcome to Shelf Control News. I'm Norm, and this just in, review bombing's a thing. It's probably not the best start. Let's talk about review bombing. First, a definition of what that is. A lot of people get upset and purposely review games or movies or any kind of media just down to the basement as far as they can because of some perceived slight. Is that a thing that should happen? I don't know. Well, we'll talk about it. What brought it to my mind is the game Monumental. This is a copy of the game that I got at a used bookstore. It was a pretty good price. Not a super deal, but it was with store credit. So I thought I'd give it a try. I'd heard good things about it. Alex Radcliffe said he really liked it back in the day. I don't know if he's since gotten rid of it or not, but I tend to like games he likes, so I thought I'd give it a try. And during Black Friday, Target had both the expansions on sale. So I was like, you know what? It's good price. I think it was $14 each for the expansions. So I was like, you know what? I'll pick those up. That way I've got them, so if we try this game and I like it, I don't have to try and hunt them down later, and plus it was good price. But I looked on Board Game Geek, and the last expansion for this game had a 5 point, currently has a 5.5 rating on it out of their Board Game Geek's 10-point scale. And that seemed a little odd to me. So, because I'd heard good things about it, they added the rules to the continuous play, I think is what they called it, which lets the turns go by faster so the other players aren't sitting there waiting so long. And people seem to like that. I was like, why 5.5? So I clicked on it and started looking at the reviews, and it turns out there was some Kickstarter issues. They did a Kickstarter for the base game and both of the expansions with miniatures. This copy is just the cardboard bits. It's the retail version. The one with the miniatures is Kickstarter exclusive. You can't get it outside in retail. And so the retail versions hadn't been delivered yet, and so that's why a lot of people are going in and giving it giving it a review of 1 with quotes like avoid the publisher or never delivered or fraudulent despicable company. And so that drove the rating of the game down pretty far, but there were high reviews of people who reviewing it on gameplay. So we'll see how we like it when it finally comes in. But that really got me thinking about review bombing and its place in the board game world. I found there's 2 different types of review bombing that I've come across. There may be more. If you know of any other examples of different kinds, please leave them in the comments. I'd like to find out about them. But the first one is with Monumental, and the publisher is Funforge, I think is the name of it. They had a lot of problems with the Kickstarter, and people are starting to get their copies now much later than it was. I think it had something to do with like over the COVID, prices went up, shipping went up. They never asked specifically for more money, I don't think, but it seemed like they might have been using some Kickstarter funds to help get other Kickstarters out to people in a first come first serve kind of thing. This Kickstarter was first, so we used some of the money from this to help ship those out. And so people were getting upset, and then some people don't have these copies yet, and the retail versions are out. Like I said, I'm getting the expansions from Target, but again, they don't have the figures in it. They're just cardboard bits. It's really interesting to see the game given such poor reviews by people who don't even have it and haven't even played it. They're just upset with the publisher. And is that fair to the game? Is it fair to the designer of the game? Matthew Dustin made this game, and He put all his work into it, and it got sold to a publisher, and then because of the faults of the publisher, all of a sudden his game is given such a poor rating, and that reflects poorly on him. It reflects poorly on his game. The base game itself came out way before any of these issues, so it's still fairly high in its rating, maybe like around an 8 or something. So it's still good, but somebody's going to click on that expansion and be like, "Ooh, that's not a good expansion. I'm not gonna pick it up." And what if this problem happened on the base game itself, and it got the rating of 5.5, and people like me who go to the used bookstores to look for games finds this on the shelf for a really good price, looks it up on Board Game Geek, and it's like a 5.5, and it's like, okay, maybe I'll pass on it. But it got that 5.5 not on the basis of the game, but on the basis of the publisher. That's one case of review bombing I found, and that got me thinking of an earlier case, kind of a more interesting case, with the Mass Effect board game. It's currently at a 6.5, and it seems now that it's kind of gone away from this, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But when it first came out, people seem to be really upset at the fact that the character boards that gave descriptions of the characters had pronouns. And people apparently didn't like that. They started review bombing the game, giving it one reviews, and quote, "add in even more DEI crap no one asked for in the next one," or "pushing woke ideology when no one requested it. Pathetic. Pronouns for a board game? What is next? Some hormone pills with it in a bag? Ay, caramba! Terrible game, and game director spewing hate online." I don't know what's going on with some of the people in the board game space. Anytime somebody brings up DEI or woke as some kind of bad thing, I just dismiss them outright. You're taking terms, giving them your own meaning, and using it against people, and people have been doing that for years, and I think it's crap. We're talking about the game director spewing hate online. I think they might be talking about the game designer, because Eric Lang designed it, and Eric Lang publicly called the people who were upset about these pronouns man babies, and I think that hurt their feelings a little bit, and so they're review bombing the game for that. I found a post on Board Game Geek where someone was asking, what's happening to this game? Why is it getting review bombed? And you can actually look at the historical stats of a game on Board Game Geek. In Board Game Geek, they have a stats tab, and then you can click on a graph for rankings, where it shows it climbing up in the rankings and how it goes over time and things like that. And it's got a really interesting graph here, which I'll put up over here so you can see. And it's kind of funny that on October 24th, it was up around 10,000 was the ranking. And then on the 24th, dropped down to 26,600. And stayed down for quite a while until it came up a little bit, stayed level, and then it came up again, I think, when people got their copies, and have gone up. And it's up to 8,400 ranking right now, and climbing. And so I think the man babies, I think the people have focused their hate elsewhere, and so they're not messing with the review bombs anymore. That's another reason I've seen for people to review bomb, and it could happen on both sides. These are people who are upset that people have pronouns. It could be the other way. Somebody might make a game about removing pronouns from people, and people would get upset and review bomb it the other way. And I don't know if that's fair to the game either. The pronouns are just flavor text. You don't even have to read it if you don't want to. I think it's kind of weird that people are upset about pronouns in a Mass Effect game when in the video game you can have same-sex relationships with the characters in the game. And it's like, have these people even heard of Mass Effect? Have they played it? It doesn't make any sense. I think they just heard pronouns and they get all frothy at the mouth. But I don't want to go too much into that. This isn't a video about man babies and pronouns. There might be another video on that coming up. I don't know how low the not the ranking, but the rating has dropped down to. You know, it's a 6.5 now. On October 24th, it might have dropped way down, but you know, it's starting to climb back up as people get the game. Personally, it doesn't look like a game for me. It doesn't feel Mass Effect. I'm a huge Mass Effect fan, and I think now a lot of the low reviews that people are getting is related to the price of the minifigs. Now people have moved past the pronouns. They heard the price, and that's the new outrage, and that might be a little bit more valid. I can get behind that. They priced the figures for the game pretty high, so if you wanted to add minifigs for all the pieces, you were going to be paying a lot of money for the game. This is a thing that we have to deal with in the board game space, where people get upset at a publisher and they drop a game down. They get upset about something and they vote the game down. And you know, is that fair? Is that providing useful information for the consumer? Only if you take the time to click on it and figure out what people have wrote, because sometimes they don't write anything. You just get a one review and there's like nothing explaining why they did that. So it's not information that you can actually use. So I was thinking that Board Game Geek has pages for individual publishers and pages for individual designers. I don't know if I'd like to see this for designers necessarily, because those are individual people, but it'd be kind of cool if you could give a 1 to 10 ranking of a publisher, and on the page where you have the game and its ranking, down where it says publisher, it has like a little symbol similar that gives its ranking. And so that would give you some information where it's like, okay, this game's got a good rating, its publisher's got a low rating. Let me see why, and I can see what people are saying about the publisher and see if that applies to me. I might be like, okay, I don't want to give this publisher any money, but that would come in so handy for people like me who buy games used, where I can see something on the shelf, look it up on Board Game Geek, and be like, okay, this game's got a really good rating, and it's like, oh, its publisher's got a bad rating. Well, that's okay, because none of this money is going to that publisher. Or if I'm at the local game store, I could be like, wow, this game's got a good rating. The publisher does some problematic stuff that I would rather not support. So I'm going to wait and see if I can find it on the used market instead of giving that publisher my money. And I think there are some troublesome designers that people might have problems with politically or socially or whatever, but I think that's a little bit more troublesome when it's an individual person. I wouldn't want people going online on this YouTube channel. I don't want people to give me a rating between 1 and 10. Of course, if you want to, go ahead and put it in the comments. Give me a rating of 1 to 10. You can review bomb me. We got a thumbs down for that too. We can see if I get review bombed. I did call people man babies. we'll see what happens. Anyways, it'd be nice. It would be a nice feature to add to Board Game Geek where you could separate the game from the publisher, and is that way the game gets a low rating if it deserves a low rating, and the publishers get a low rating if they deserve a low rating. But a game made by a publisher doesn't get a low rating based on the actions of the publisher, and that'd be a whole lot more fair to the game designer, because I'm sure the game designer doesn't want to see they spent years making a game and it becomes a 6.5, not because of how the game plays, but because it's got pronouns in it, or you put your heart and soul into designing a game and people really, really like it, and it gets a 5.5 because the publisher didn't deliver it on a quick basis and was all allegedly shady about how they dealt with stuff. And that way, the information, the rankings would actually be more useful to the consumers. I don't know. I don't think it'd be terribly difficult to add to the Board Game Geek page to have publisher rankings and have them shown with the games. I don't know. I didn't design the website, so I don't know how problematic that might be. But even if you could just rank the publishers and not show that ranking on the games, I think that would be a problem, because people are still going to downvote the game if that publisher ranking is not easily viewable on the game page, because they're angry. They want people to know about what this publisher is doing, and they're not going to click through the game to the publisher to do the ranking for the publisher if that's not going to be outward facing on the pages of the games that publisher puts out. And so I think that'd be a nice thing. You have the title of the game, the nice picture of the game, and then you have the designer, publisher, and a little number next to the publisher, just like up in the top corner there, giving the rating for the publisher. So if it's a good game but a bad publisher, you can investigate and see how you want to spend your money. So anyways, I think I've probably said enough on this. I don't think review bombing the game is the answer, but then again, Board Game Geek doesn't give you the tools to accurately say what you want to say in an outward facing manner. And so I think maybe they should do something to their page to make it so people can express their outrage and not have people like game designers get caught in the crossfire. So anyways, that's just me rambling about review bombs. Let me know what you think in the comments. Do you think review bombing has a place? Do you think that environments should be made that make review bombing easier and more focused, like I was saying, or should it just be eliminated altogether? I'd like to know what you think. Anyways, I'll talk to you later. Bye.